in various versions, then you can understand. If I say, so HTTP client has been changed, then you can say, oh, it's changed. How it is changed? Now in my Angular 9, it is working like this. In other versions, how it was working. So that is a simple part and easy to understand when you are aware of it, right? That's the reason several features we will discuss while using it. Some changes happened, we will learn about all of them. Technically, major features of Angular are all these. Major features of Angular are all these. And what are the various versions of Angular? Various versions of Angular. So actually, Google started versioning Angular from 2. So if you are hearing about Angular 1x, that means they are talking about Angular JS. They are talking about Angular JS. So Angular is not replacement for Angular JS. Angular is completely rebuilt, and it is an alternative. So in order to learn Angular, you don't need knowledge of Angular JS. If you have knowledge of Angular JS, you will feel more easy, but not required. Directly you can deal with Angular. And after learning Angular, you cannot handle Angular JS because it is different. Angular is completely reconstructed, rewritten with a new language called TypeScript. Angular JS is JavaScript based. Angular is TypeScript based. So it is completely different. But if you know Angular JS, certain terminology, certain terms you will come across again, then you will feel easy. That's it. Other than that, you don't need any knowledge of Angular JS to deal with Angular. And various versions of Angular, let's see actually. So technically, what are the various versions of Angular? Several versions are there for Angular. And what are the versions released for Angular? So what are the versions released for Angular? So the key features already I told you. The key features of Angular I told you detailedly actually. What are the key features of Angular? It is cross-platform, speed and performance, productivity, end-to-end experience. End-to-end experience means I told you that it provides tools for building end-to-end. That means from debugging to testing, building to testing, deploying, whatever required. Dynamic loading, just now I told you, right? Ivy comes with this. Others, you will modular, I told you, all right? Others, you will understand once you start learning about it, right? What are the key features, right? Cross-platform, as I told you. So with HTML, CSS, JavaScript, by using Cordova, Ionic, native script like frameworks, right? So faster, high performance, even supports the service offline. So that means simple deployment. All these features I explained already when the introduction I told you. I told you fluid user experience, unified user experience, loosely coupled extensible architecture, if you remembered. We discussed about all these points also. Here the point is the versions. Angular 2 was introduced into 14. And when it was introduced into 14, it was a complete rewrite of AngularJS. As I already told you, it is component-based, modular, and asynchronous. Asynchronous means, asynchronous is nothing but, suppose you make a request for a specific component. After making request to specific component, generally application waits until response comes from the component. Until the response comes from the component. After making request, then it will go to the next component. That means one after another. That is synchronous. Synchronous means one after another. Asynchronous means it makes a request and will not wait for response. It will go to the next one. This makes the performance better because it will not wait until the current request is finished. It will make a request, then it will go to next. Whichever request is ready, it will come first. That's what makes it asynchronous. We generally call as unblocking technique. Unblocking technique. It is a complete platform for developer and it is fast. And what happened is in Angular 2, when they were working with Angular 2, one of the issue they faced is actually when they started Angular 2, officially it was in 2.14. Angular 2 was in 2.14. What happened is they developed the library. So one library is Angular core library. So Angular several libraries are present. Angular route library, Angular forms library, Angular forms library. And Angular has so many such libraries. Angular HTTP library. Now what happened is, in that they were facing a technical issue in route. That is, all are 2 version. Angular core 2, Angular route 2, Angular forms 2. This is the library version actually. But they faced a problem in a route. Some technical issues came. And they have to immediately address those issues and resolve the issues. So what they have done is, in the middle of Angular, already it is in use. So after releasing Angular, they have to make some changes in Angular route. And they made those changes in Angular route and released the new library as Angular route 3. Route 3. That means they improved, they corrected some technical issues and said that as a developer, if you want route, please install our latest route library, which will resolve the previous problems. And they named it version 3. Then what happens is, after Angular 2, they have to release next version. When they release next version, then what will happen? In next version, Angular core will be 3 and Angular route will be now 4 and others will be 3. That means all other library version will be 3 and only Angular route version will be 4. This will continue forever. To reduce this issue, to address this issue, to overcome this versioning issue, they said that, okay, so let's resolve it here itself. So we will not release number 3, we will directly go with number 4. That means all will be 4 now. That's the reason Angular 3 never released. Angular 3 never released. That is due to the routing issue and the routing library actually. Due to the routing library, they never released Angular 3. Just they have to ignore that 3 and they released Angular 4 directly. So it will reduce that versioning issue. Only that is the point, right? That's the reason after Angular 2, then there is no Angular 3. Directly we have Angular 4. And Angular 4 introduced some new features into HTTP client, route life cycles, route guards and route checkends. See, if I tell all these points, what you will understand? Nothing. That's the reason this is not the right time for understanding differences between versions. This will be the right